Am I the asshole for not sharing my only plate, pregnant woman? I recently found out I have a gluten allergy, which explains all of the stomach pains and aches I've had with trying to eat anything my whole life. Since finding out about the allergy, I've been making sure to avoid that contain trace amounts of gluten because even a small amount causes indigestion and in some cases vomit. I was invited out to breakfast with some of my friends and I let them know of the allergy so we could pick somewhere that actually had food. The place we settled on is a really high-end breakfast restaurant that has a whole separate kitchen, or at least section of kitchen, for preparing their food without gluten, which was a lifesaver since had that not been the case, I would have skipped the restaurant entirely. Included in my friends a couple who recently got pregnant. We can call them Emma and Via. Via is the one who is pregnant and said she wouldn't be having much since she wasn't feeling very well the morning sickness. Everyone understood and offered to let her just have a bites off their plates so she could still have something nice even if it was just a little. I didn't agree to this though, since if they were going to be sharing with each other, I couldn't take part. I explained me not feeling like sharing since I'd just be getting food without getting any, and all my friends seemed to completely understand, as well as agree that was very fair. When the food came out, everyone was sharing and having a good time. Via asked if she could have a bite of my food, and I politely declined sharing since I couldn't grab a different bite anyone else. Via told me her pregnancy cravings were kicking, and all she was asking for was a couple bites, so I should have just given that to her. I told her again, I'd already explained I didn't want to share since my food was all I had. Emma told me I could just give her half and order more food if I wasn't satisfied with the amount left, and I again told them the gluten-free options were quite a bit more expensive than what they were eating, and paying for 2 plates just so Via could have half my food didn't seem fair. Via then told me just because I was on a diet didn't mean I could be selfish, and everyone else had no issues sharing. Thankfully, the rest of the people sitting there did help me stand up for myself and told Via I'd already explained I wouldn't be sharing since no one shared back. Well, I'd ordered an egg scramble and some gluten-free pancakes. Everyone else had normal pancakes, French toast, avocado toast, and other things I just couldn't eat. Vita wasn't satisfied there in my justification to why she couldn't have any of my food. She went on and on about how I turned the whole table against her and shamed her for being pregnant and hungry. I told her if she'd gotten her appetite back, she could always order herself late so she didn't to rely on anyone sharing their food. Via went off at this and told me about all the things she's needed to pay for in preparation of her and Emma's baby. She told me I was being selfish and heartless because I didn't want to give her half my plate when I can afford to do so. This is where I may be the a-hole because I told Via she chose to get pregnant and she chose to go through all of the issues that come. I didn't chose to have a glucose salad and I didn't want to go hungry because she wanted to eat off everyone else for free. Via started ugly crying and everyone tried to calm her down, but she and Emma ended up just leaving without paying their portion of the bill. No one blamed me since I was right, but Emma sent me a message telling I could have just said no and left it at that instead of embarrassing Via in front of all her friends. I'm starting to feel very guilty. I didn't want either of them to leave. I just wanted her to stop trying to leverage her pregnancy against me as a way to get the only food I eat. AITA? ETA. Trying to answer some of the most answered questions. Yes, Emma did get a plate. She claimed it was too sweet for Via and she should grab a less sweet bite of everyone else's plate. The reason it went from 1 bite to half my food, which was 1 pancake of my 2, was because she assumed mine was less sweet due to being gluten-free. I don't think that's the case, but that was just her logic. The group agreed wouldn't be spending as much time with either Emma or Via. Ever since getting married, the two of their bitchiness aspects have combined. We also did send them a Venmo request for their part of the bill. They've been told they can either pay the bill or they can never come out to eat with us again.
Am I the asshole for telling the boyfriend of my husband's AP that she's cheating on him? Advice needed. I 38F found out my husband 40M of 14 years was having an affair with a coworker. I was utterly crushed. We had a really good relationship and I never would have suspected that he was cheating on me. I looked the AP up and she had a boyfriend of 2 years, so she was cheating on him the entire time. Obviously, I felt it was right to tell her boyfriend that she was cheating on him. I would have wanted to be told in the same situation. He asked if we could meet once so I could tell him what was going on. I met him and he was absolutely lovely, ridiculously handsome, and funny. It really solidified that cheating had nothing to do with a betrayed partner because I was feeling insecure about it before. He also offered a revenge lay and I obviously declined. We agreed to confront our partners on the same day, roughly same time. Afterwards, I told my husband that I knew he was having an affair. He immediately begged for my forgiveness and said that he was sickened about what he had done. If I gave him another chance, he would spend the rest of my life making it up to me. He said that he was feeling insecure about aging and no longer being the man he once was, to get some of that back and to show off his wealth and power. We talked about it for a long time. I told him that I told AP's boyfriend because unlike some people, I don't believe in hiding things from your partner, and the blood drained out of his face. He said that it was abusive and I should have never told him. The AP contacted him to say that Pat screamed at her for hours and she was afraid and needed my husband to come over. I told him there was no way he was coming over to help AP. We could call the police. After all, he knows her address. He left anyways, saying that he loved me, but AP's blood was on my hands if I said anything. I called the police and told them that I think there is a disturbance at AP's place. My husband came back later and he had a black eye. He claimed AP's boss got violent with him. He maintained that he did the right thing, but the police just told the two of them to leave before they both got arrested for fighting. He said that he couldn't believe I was so heartless because I had read the texts and knew both abusive. When I read the texts, all I saw were lies on lies focused on me because my husband would lie to his coworker about how the marriage was dead and that I cared more about appearance than him, that I was using him for his money. None of which is true. I have a better job than him and a better financial position. I don't believe the AP sob story. I refuse to apologize for telling the book. My husband called me vindictive. He's been telling his side of the family that, and I'm getting iced out until I tell my side of the story, which makes it more 50-50 on whether I did the right thing. Am I the asshole?
Update. In-laws 60F, 79M are begging for forgiveness. Should my wife 35F and I 38M keep the door closed? First, my wife was right. The cancer story was bullshit. They were just trying to manipulate us. The same night I wrote my last post, I just let my wife know that I was here to listen if she wanted to talk about any of it, that I would always support her no matter what she decided. She thanked me and I didn't bring it up again. She had her therapy session and afterwards said she wanted to talk. She said she wanted to get more information before making any decision. She reached out to a trusted mutual connection and asked them to discreetly find out if the cancer was real. They reported back to say my FIL appeared healthy. My in-laws are apparently planning a European vacation for August, and they're telling people we are going with them. Connection was also able to confirm Mary is supposed to go on this trip along with her new boyfriend, much older rich finance guy. Shocker. And that my in-laws have not told anyone about what happened with me and Mary last year. They just told people we moved away for work. Obviously, at this point, any possibility of reconciliation was gone. I don't think I've ever seen Jenna angrier than when we found all of this out. Just the utter gall of them lying about something like terminal cancer to manipulate my wife into forgiveness. I'm still amazed they would stoop so low, but it was eye-opening to see comments on my last post talking about how common it is. They even call it Christmas cancer. Some people just have no shame. Jenna decided to write a letter this weekend explaining that she knew they were lying about everything. She told them that they and Mary are essentially already dead to her. She's processed that grief and recommends they do the same. She also said that if they tried to reach out again, the next letter they receive will be from a lawyer. She told me that writing the letter was healing for her, so that's one small thing to be grateful for. We were left wondering who told them about the baby / gave them our address. I'm sure the address is not hard to find with public records, but we have been so careful about the baby. The connection we reached out to didn't even know about her until Jenna called. We / trust them, just didn't want to take any chances of it getting back. We went over for dinner at my parents' place a couple of days ago, and Jenna started telling them about what happened. Noticed my mother averting eye contact and my heart sank into my stomach. I asked her if she had been the one to contact them, and she just started bawling, saying she couldn't imagine never knowing her own grandchildren and just wanted us to heal and be a family together. My dad had no idea she had reached out and was shocked and disappointed in her as well. I went absolutely ballistic while Jenna sort of just shut down and got this blank look on her face. I can't remember half of the things I said, but I ended by saying she would now know what it's like to not have access to her granddaughter, just like my in-laws. We took the baby and left right away, ignoring calls / texts from them and eventually my siblings. So now we're both feeling betrayed and heartbroken. Never in a million years did I think my mother would violate our trust like that. We're so close. She loves Jenna and the baby so much. My family knows exactly what happened with the in-laws. She can't claim ignorance. Obviously, we're taking a lot of space from them, but funnily enough, Jenna is advocating for us to not be too hasty in cutting them off. She feels like my mom was not acting maliciously and is open to giving her a second chance, especially given she's been nothing but supportive of me / my wife until this. Somewhere down there, I know she's right, but it's too fresh and I'm still so angry. We've asked for space from my family and they're being respectful about it. We'll take the weekend to cool down before we figure out next steps together. Thankfully, we have this cute little chubby grub in our house that giggles and makes silly sounds, so it's hard to stay super upset or in your head about anything for too long. I know it's going to be a hard road rebuilding trust with my mom, but I feel somewhat hopeful that things will be okay in the long run. Thanks again for your help. TLDR, in-laws were lying. There was no cancer. Wife told them to go to hell. My mom was the one to contact them, and we're taking space from my family before we explore repairing the relationship. Currently focusing on squishing my daughter's cheeks to feel better. We're going to be okay. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter to hit below the belt? Relevant background. My 43F daughter Becky, 10, has struggled with leukemia since she was 5 years old, finally nearing remission. We hope as a side effect of the chemo, she lost her hair. She's a bit self-conscious and found a wig to be very uncomfortable. But everyone at her school is quite supportive. She usually wears a baseball hat or beanie. She's never run into any bullying because of this until now. My daughter wanted to go to a YMCA day camp this summer and her doctor cleared her. Of course, I signed her up. Unfortunately, there's a clique of girls there that have been straight up vile. My daughter came home crying the first day because the queen of this clique, we'll call her Jenny, gave her the nickname Lex, as in Lex Luthor. It's comic book week and wouldn't stop when my daughter asked her to. I went to the counselor the next morning and pretty much asked Wolf. He said that he talked with Jenny and the clique about it, and they will stop. They didn't. It just got worse. They started a game of steal Jenny's hat and keep it away from her. Counselor was some feckless teenage Jew that did fuck all to stop this. My daughter wanted to try and stay in the camp because she was making friends there who actually stood up for her. I decided to arm her with a bit of secret adult information. Jenny is the daughter of a couple going through a nasty public divorce. I told my daughter that next time Jenny harasses her, she should tell Jenny that she is the reason for her parents' divorce and that they both want to get rid of her. Probably not true, but certainly a devastating insult to a tween. This worked quite well. Becky hit Jenny with divorce slam yesterday, and it was super effective. Becky was beaming when I picked her up. Jenny was inconsolable, and the counselor looked like he had just come back from now. He asked for a sit down with us and told me I shouldn't encourage my daughter to insult other campers. He said that Jenny was just stressed from the divorce and was misplacing her anger on Becky. I said that my daughter is not going to be a punching bag, and I will continue to teach and encourage her to hit back. Am I the asshole?